And tonight, the story of a shattered dancehall king, Shatta Wale, unfolds with scores of fans pouring out onto the streets of Accra in a humble plea for mercy over his alleged connection to a $4 million fraud case.
So what I'm trying to say is that Raymond Acha should try as much as he can to temper justice with mercy. And when it comes to entertainment, he's one of our greatest entertainers that we have here in the country, yeah?
And tonight we'll tell you more in the next 30 minutes because in spite of a 10 million cedis bail condition, the Economic and Organized Crime Office says Shatta Wale is not yet a free man.
And by virtue of the fact that we found one, it could possibly mean that there are others. So we have to extend our investigations. EOCO is not in the business of refunding anything to anyone. Ours is to ensure that the stolen vehicles are retrieved. Now
listen to what I'm saying, Ghana, so that if somebody come my house, where I say I don't go anywhere, make nobody come even tell me, say, Shatta, what did you know they try?
And top story, as always, is brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. My name is Blessed Suga, and tonight there is no doubt that Shatta Wale is shattered beyond imagination. That's because the self-acclaimed dancehall king is still in the custody of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. Now, according to official reports, the embattled musician was invited to assist in ongoing investigations into a 2019 Lamborghini Urus vehicle, which we understand is a luxury format of it, which American authorities have now identified as proceeds of a $4 million fraud case involving a Ghanaian national, Nana Kwabena Amwa, who is currently serving a jail term back in the U.S. We'll take you shortly to give you a sense of what transpired today and is still transpiring at the head office of EOCO shortly, as we understand scores of fans and supporters have been pouring out onto the streets of Accra in a humble plea, first of all, for mercy for Shatta Wale, who's now allegedly being connected to this $4 million fraud case. But first, my colleague Michael Niashali has been taking a look at a statement released a couple of hours ago from the same office where Shatta Wale is being kept. Michael, let's get into it now because we're wondering what more we know about this invitation extended to the dancehall musician Shatta Wale. What is EOCO telling us about circumstances surrounding his invitation?
Well, so, Blessed, first of all, the EOCO starts from their collaboration with the FBI and the U.S. State Department of Justice. This particular case that they were dealing with in their country now. Beyond what they have done, we know the arrest that effected in Ghana and took the person back to the U.S. to serve his term. What really has happened is that the judge in that case made a ruling which effectively says that you cannot, you have to necessarily return that particular stolen vehicle to the country and back to the original owner, and that's exactly what was supposed to have been done. But again, there was
order by the United States courts in question here.
Yes, so this was the order, and EOCO is the one in Ghana that's supposed to effect some of these orders in the country. That's how come months ago in May they actually went, when they found the vehicle in the possession of Shatta Wale, they actually went to his home where they went to actually retrieve the vehicle. Now, subsequent to that, there was a second order that came from the United States, which is that they now want to find co-conspirators in this bigger money laundering or alleged money laundering scheme of $4 million. Yeah. And that is exactly what they've commenced, which is why they went ahead. Yes,
it's now being invited.
Exactly. That is why they went ahead to invite Shatta Wale to the offense. This is what we were told that on the 15th of August 2025, the United States Court of the Eastern District of Kentucky, Central Division of Lexington, a criminal case of the United States of America, issued an order for fitting substitute asset on the Lamborghini Urus in question, authorizing the U.S. U.S. government to take possession of the said vehicle.
I see.
Now, on August 5th, which is just this month, 2025, following a public claim by he himself, Shatta Wale, that he purchased the car at a price of $150,000 from an unidentified party, EOCO issued an invitation to him, which was supposed to honor today. Now it tells us that invitation they were meant to honor it yesterday at 10 a.m. They called that they prefer 11. That at 11 or minutes to 11, they called EOCO and said that, well, we cannot do 11.
Yeah.
And currently my client is also busy and cannot come.
Yeah.
And there's an order that you cannot fail to meet this particular
because you ought to appear before EOCO. And
they
that's
eventually
how come,
did.
And that's how come he's being detained now, because of the time he arrived, isn't it?
Not the detention is not necessarily because of the time he arrived. Right. Now, he arrived at 11, we are told by the statement, but his lawyers didn't do so until 6 hours later. They came at 5 p.m. And that was when they could begin some interrogation. Shatta Wale initially refused to partake in any interrogation without his lawyers, and that's why they had to wait.
Okay.
Ordinarily, you know that EOCO would have closed at 5 p.m., but they had to wait until 9 p.m.
I see. And that's why this is traveling all throughout the night. And in fact, even as we speak, the dancehall musician is still in the custody of EOCO. But tonight, we're confirming a few things, which we'll hear from Shatta himself. The issue about the car. Has he accepted responsibility for purchasing that vehicle in the first place?
Well, so it tells us that EOCO's investigators started the interrogation after 5 p.m. when the lawyers for Shatta Wale came through. It tells us that he was granted bail at 9 p.m. shortly after interrogation, and then he was granted bail of 10 million Ghana, which is now public knowledge. They tell us so far, Charles Niama,
who is the artist now?
Yes, Shatta Wale has been unable to identify the person from whom he purchased the said Lamborghini Urus vehicle, except to say that he purchased it from the street. And this is in quotes.
That's the word he used.
The
so
word
he's being quoted here.
EOCO says, or is quoting Shatta Wale to have said, that he purchased this Lamborghini, the yellow one, from the street.
And street meaning here?
Well, the statement rather goes on to say that, and from someone possibly called, again another quote, Zach, Z-A-K, who may have contacted him on WhatsApp, but whose identity he does not know, and whose contact he says again he has thrown away. So far, Charles Niama Mensah does not also possess any documentation in terms of receipt or transfer document which shows that he owns or purchased the said vehicle except a custom declaration document in his possession bearing the name of Nana Kwabena Amwa, who is currently in jail and serving in the U.S.
Bizarre, isn't it? Because if you listen to the account of Shatta Wale earlier when he honored the earlier invitation, the first one actually, Shatta Wale was confident that he had all documentation in his possession and that it was rather the case that he was not treated right by Raymond Acha, who's one of the top officials there at EOCO. Let's listen to that briefly. So we can dig into the matters.
And this is where I want every Ghanaian, every blogger that you are writing and you don't know what you are writing about. This is where I want you to take note that today, the reason why I wrote Raymond Acha's name on my Facebook page was that the approach he gave me in that office on that fateful day was the most scariest thing that traumatized me up to now. But I've kept my cool. Baba, we enter the office inside, no. You know, when they walk from me, there's the camp. They tell me, say, listen, Shatta, Edu Boy is going down. Listen to what I'm saying, Ghana. So that if somebody come my house, where I say I don't go anywhere, make nobody come even tell me, say, Shatta, what did you know they try? It's too much. Why? They use power, they abuse people. Why? For your office, they give me warning. Say, if I don't know, Edu Boy, they go down. But he's telling me that wherever all the cars that Edu Boy has given me and I'm hiding, if I don't show them, he will take me, he will give me to the FBI or whatever. And I say, oh, Chama, relax for me. Oh, Chama, come here in peace. Like, the way they talk, like, Chama, yeah, this matter they talk, I don't know anything about this matter.
And that was Charles Niama Mensah, Shatta Wale as is popularly known, who was just speaking days before the second invitation. Little did he know that he was spending more than a night in the custody of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. But scores of people joining us tonight as we try and understand what exactly is going on at the EOCO headquarters now, where we understand scores of fans and notable figures in the music industry have started pouring in solidarity for Charles Nyama Mensah Shatta Wale. We'll get there shortly with my colleague who's just returned from there, Kenneth Jesse. But also joining the conversation tonight is Peter Lonchini Tobu, who's Wild West Member of Parliament, member of the Interior and Defence Committee as well, knows a lot into policing because he was a former police chief himself. Alfred Tiayabo is former Deputy Attorney General. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. But first, let's understand what's happening at the EOCO head office so I can bring you all in. Ken, let's start off with it. We got wind of it earlier today, but the indication is that this interrogation started last night. Paint a picture to us about the atmosphere, first of all, that we have at EOCO and what's happening now.
Well, Blizzard, it's a very euphoric atmosphere when you get to EOCO. You can actually sense that there's something going on there. Some of the supporters actually tell me that they started massing up at the place at around 5 a.m.
As early as 5?
As early as 5 a.m. Most of them say they have abandoned their work. Some of them, students, also say that they have abandoned class to actually come and support Shatta Wale. And it's interesting because as the day went by, you would see different group of supporters, some from Nima, some from Ashaiman, some from the various communities.
And I like the way you stress these communities because for Shatta Wale, that's the street to him.
Exactly. He says he's the king of the street, and it was evident today at EOCO office today that he is indeed the king of the streets. You see a lot of these individuals lining up at the office chanting the release of Shatta Wale, saying no Shatta Wale, no vote.
And what's that supposed to mean, by the way?
I have no idea. So, I mean, there were a series of chants that, you know, they were singing there, demanding the immediate release of Shatta Wale because according to them, the dancehall king has done nothing wrong.
This is the issue. What's the plea really? Is it just for his release or they have a message for Raymond Archer? Because some of them seem to be mentioning his name as well.
Well, so according to some of them, it's merely a witch hunting. That's what they claim, that they are witch hunting Shatta Wale. I tried to explain to them that these are the charges that have been leveled against him. And they said that Shatta Wale is not guilty of any of those charges. So according to them, it's just a mere witch hunting.
In my view, Shatta Wale is preventing himself. Let me say, in my condition, example like me, if I bought something, if it is a selling thing, and you come to me, oh, Mr. Prince, where did you get this thing? It's a selling thing. I have to tell you, this person bought it for me. It's right. No one is above the law. We're not saying that Shatta Wale is above the law. No. We are pleading to the government that for the sake of Shatta Wale, the fans, you know, law doesn't govern that thing. But Shatta Wale is not a criminal. Shatta Wale is not a bad person. It's a star. Let me tell you something. I am not saying it, but I want to say it. See, if they didn't release Shatta Wale within 24 hours, you will see the crowd over here.
I'm doing my own job, but how can Shatta Wale buy a stolen car? Me, I don't understand. Did you understand my point? Are you getting me now? He can't buy a stolen car because it has been shipped. It has been shipped. It has been shipped, so he can't buy a stolen car.
EOCO says he's unable to identify who sold him the car.
So what I'm trying to say is that Raymond Archer should try as much as he can to temper justice with mercy. And when it comes to entertainment, he's one of our greatest entertainers that we have here in the country, yeah?
Okay, the concerns there at the headquarters of EOCO, where we understand a lot is happening, with scores of fans of Shatta pouring out and asking EOCO to temper justice with mercy. Let's bring in Peter Tobu, the MP, and also Alfred Tiayabo, as well as Frank Atanliko-Figa, Executive Secretary, Vehicle and Asset Dealers Union. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. I want to start off with you, Honorable Tobu, the point, first of all, about the plea that this state agency at least considers the atmosphere on the basis of security, just to allow Shatta Wale go, because the numbers keep pouring in to the headquarters of EOCO.
So thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me take this chance to say good evening to your cherished listeners. You know, organized crime requires a lot of international collaboration to unravel deep secrets behind such crimes. The fact of the matter is that Shatta Wale, my beloved Shatta Wale, I love him. But the fact that I love him doesn't mean that he's above the law. Nobody's above the law. But nobody's also saying that Shatta Wale has committed a crime. And that is why investigations are ongoing. But the crux of the matter is that what I'm seeing is that Shatta is deemed to have profited from the proceeds of crime. And the vehicle got to Ghana in the name of the convict Nana Kobna Amwa. Nana Kobna Amwa has his name on the documents at the port. So if Shatta had bought the vehicle from the port from whoever, at least there's to be documentation to show that I have bought this vehicle from this person and I've changed ownership and it is not mine. If that is not done, I think that let's assume Kobna Amwa had shipped the vehicle to Ghana. It's proceeds of crime. He shipped it to Ghana and probably he was coming to use it. And if Shatta happened to be a friend and he says, clear this vehicle and keep it, I'll come for it. It is for Shatta to just say, yes, I didn't buy it. I only credit for a friend, but I got to realize that he's a criminal and he's been convicted in the U.S. and this vehicle belongs to him. If it is proceeds of crime, they take the vehicle back to the U.S. and you are a free person. If you also bought it without knowing, of course, you are trying to get connected to the crime. But, I mean, my good friend, Lawyer Atua, will tell you, it's all about the intent. Did you have the intent to commit the crime? Are you aware that it's a stolen property? Even looking at the price that you were offered, does it suggest to you that this could be a stolen property? If honestly in your heart you bought the vehicle not knowing that it has anything to do with crime, I mean the state of Ghana will look at it. But the U.S. is interested in the vehicle. They are not interested in Shatta Wale.
I see.
But Ghana is also interested in the fact that Shatta should not be part of the organized crime. So investigation will have to absolve Shatta of any offense, and Shatta will be free to go. If Shatta is deemed to have committed any offense...
And I love the way you describe Shatta Wale, isn't it? You say he's your beloved Shatta Wale. And not just you, but many more in the National Democratic Congress. This is one figure who supported even the president. And you see many of his fans seemingly disappointed in your party for not at least coming through for him, just to secure a bill, not necessarily, shielding him from any wrongdoing.
But I think that he's been granted bail. After the interrogation around 11 p.m. or 9 p.m., he was granted bail. Probably it's a bail condition that somebody needs to get sureties and then Shatta Wale walk out of EOCO, and then the case is not dead. The case continues. Granting bail, maybe everybody has a right. Every offense committed in Ghana, you can be given bail. So Shatta Wale has a right to be granted bail, and EOCO has granted the bail.
Okay. Great. Hold on for us. Lawyer Alfred Tiayeboa, you've been former Deputy Attorney General. Will this case hold? Mind you, this is a transnational alleged crime in its nature. The artist involved says, well, I only took possession of a vehicle which I was in the process or have actually bought with my cash. He was in no position, perhaps, to verify if the car was stolen from the U.S. or not, a jurisdiction which is way far away from, miles apart.
Thank you very much. Blessed. Yes, Shatta Wale, as we all know, is a popular musician, and I also have to indicate that he's one of my popular musicians. But as explained by Honorable, the law is no respecter of person.
We seem to be having some feedback there. But Lawyer Tiayeboa, I hope you can hear me clearly now.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, apologies. Yes.
All right. So when it comes to transnational crimes or economic and financial crimes, it is the responsibility of EOCO to investigate. And from what we are hearing, they are doing investigations based on a request or in collaboration with the U.S. authorities. So it is fair to state that EOCO has not acted outside its mandate. When it comes to the investigation of financial crimes as well as economic crimes, it takes a lot. If you look at this particular matter, it is alleged that he had, or either he is in possession of a stolen property or he has acquired a stolen property. As to whether he is guilty, I would not be able to pronounce. However, in looking at the matter, you may also have to look at the intent. Is this someone who purchased this vehicle as a bona fide purchaser for value without notice? Or is it the case that he's taking the vehicle as a conduit on behalf of another person?
Mm-hmm.
These are the two issues that I think
it's great. It's great you're
basically-
bringing that up because he's been giving his own account. He said, first off, and this is just based on what EOCO has released, that he bought first of all the car from the streets. One Zach contacting him on WhatsApp, a basis for which he was able to establish contact, and then imported the vehicle as such. Would that form intent in any way, looking at the remits of the law?
I do not know the circumstance that he made those statements and whether he has made further statements. And so I don't want to judge based on what we have read. I'm only raising the issue as to whether he is a bona fide purchaser for value without notice, or he's someone who's keeping that property on behalf of another person. I don't want to go into the merits as to whether it constitutes the intent to commit crime. But let me push it this way. Shatta Wale is well known. He's someone that, as you indicated, he has a lot of following. My issue has to do with the bail condition. It is true that EOCO has the discretion to grant bail when you are invited as a suspect. But we may have to just go further and then widen the conversation to look at the exercise of that discretion. For some time now, I've been monitoring. It appears EOCO is falling in love with bail with justification. That's not wrong. But I'm saying if care is not taken and the way they are going, other institutions may soon also take the same course. The police CID has been in existence for years. And if you get a police CID, they can tell you that it's only on few occasions that they may demand bail with justification. It has always been the court that will determine whether to justify or not justify.
I see.
In the circumstance of this case, I would have done in a different way. 10 million, fine, but it should be without justification.
Yeah.
And to avoid a situation whereby he may even run away, you may want to deposit his passport.
Yeah.
And so all these things that we are looking at, people mastering up, could have been avoided. And so EOCO will have to look at how they look at bail presently. EOCO is not a new institution. They can look into their files and they may want to apprise us, the public.
And this actually explains why we're seeing lots of his fans say, just temper justice with mercy. But Honorable Tubu, the point about the bigger picture, this vehicle moved through our ports. That's supposed to be the first layer of national security checks. Nothing of that sort was done. We understand the problem is even bigger based on the conversation we've had with EOCO on this. How do we sanitize the system? Because Ghana is gradually, according to Interpol, becoming a hot spot, lucrative, spot for stolen vehicles from Canada, especially, we understand.
The truth is that when you say you bought a property from the street, and even if you are going to pay cash, $150,000, at least you pay that cash to somebody who will not turn around to say, I didn't collect any money from you. There should be documentation for payment. I don't have a problem with Shatta buying the vehicle. Shatta has what it takes to buy that vehicle. But should Shatta buy a vehicle knowing that it is a property from proceeds of crime? Is he aware of it? If he's not aware of it, then he's come to know that, this is how it is. Then probably he needs to show who collected the money. You bought it on the street. Did you deposit this money in a bank account? It widens the investigations and it helps international crime management. All of us. Shatta himself can probably be defrauded or duped by somebody outside this country. And it requires authority to collaborate with other authorities in another country to investigate the matter to assess Shatta. So we are looking at the bigger picture. It's not just about Shatta. But it's about the fact that if he has gotten himself in the web, unknowingly, the state of Ghana should probably grant him some education.
Okay. In a minute, deal with this for me. EOCO, we understand, has a database from the Canadian Mounted Police and also Interpol. Is it time the list was published, just for clarity, so people in possession of those vehicles can run the VIN checks and then submit the vehicles if they have to avoid this public ridicule, if you want to call it as such?
I'm quite sure if you're buying a vehicle over $100,000, there is a way to check it. Even if you talk to customs, there's a way to check it. Very particular, if it is not a brand new vehicle. There's a way to check it. There's a way for Interpol to assist you to check, to ensure that you are not buying anything that is of a stolen, from a stolen person or from a crime, or getting a property from crime. But what I'm saying is that I think that I want to share an idea which supports the position of Chiayabua about bail. When you talk about stringent conditions for bail, it is the gravity of the offense and the probability of the person escaping that brings these stringent conditions. But somebody like Shatta, I think that I will side with Chiayabua. Look, if you talk about justification, if it's a court of law, fine, but at EOCO level, and looking at where will Shatta go, where is he going to go to? I mean, and the fact that this is a crime that was committed outside this country.
Yeah, I get it.
If he deliberately facilitated, but there's a way to handle it. I'm sure that we probably will not be heightening international or national security with this matter if it is handled in another way around. I think the EOCO has a lot of discretion, and I'm sure my good friend, the EOCO boss, will look at it again, and then probably by tomorrow we will have our peace, and the case will still continue anyway.
The scores of fans we've spoken to today are simply appealing to Raymond Acha, the EOCO boss, to let him go, so the issues are dealt with in a diplomatic manner. We wait to see what EOCO would say furthermore. But the concern now is also about the vehicle dealers and asset dealers who say their businesses are being heavily reeling under this whole perception that almost all second-hand cars are stolen. Frank Atanliko-Figa is joining us. Frank, apologies because of time. In just a minute, state your case to us as vehicle and asset dealers. What do you want from government?
I think what we need from government right now is legislation. What we need from government right now is to go back to the draft standardization that we have put together, with the assemblies. I think the situation happening right now is very clear. Who is the dealer? We have a lot of unscrupulous people sitting in their rooms doing these things, and at the end of the day, the vehicle dealer who is legitimately doing his work, transferring monies through the right channels and the right sources and filing their taxes, is to be blamed for this. So now the question is, who is that automobile dealer? Every dealer in Ghana registered under the Vehicle and Asset Dealers Union is a card-bearing member and whose garage can easily be located. So these are the issues that government needs to look at, because it just throws a blanket cover on everybody, on all dealers, and we become the source for some of these things, which necessarily shouldn't be.
Indeed, that should not be the case. And Kofi, apologies, we've run out of time. We need to go. Thank you, gentlemen. Alfred Chiayabua, former Deputy Attorney General, Peter Lonchini Tubu, Wild West MP, and also Frank Atanliko-Figa, Executive Secretary for the Vehicle and Asset Dealers Union. And Frank, I just want you to hold on, because I want to bring in EOCO. Then, of course, we get your final thoughts on this, Frank. The fact that EOCO is indicating to us that the case surrounding Shatta Wale may be far from over. The fact that going forward, they're probing the possibility as to whether or not he's in possession of more of such vehicles. Here's the head of legal at EOCO, Leo Anthony Siama, speaking last night with me on Upfront.
Investigations are time-consuming and lengthy processes, and by virtue of the fact that we found one, it could possibly mean that there are others. So we have to extend our investigations. Yes, and at this time, because it's an ongoing and active investigations, I will not elaborate more in terms of the things that we have found. Yes.
In such a situation, will you refund? It's a controversial question, but will you refund? If someone in Canada says, that's my car, is in Ghana, but I paid for it as well, are you refunding? Are you paying the people back? Are you paying the dealers back?
No. EOCO is not in the business of refunding anything to anyone. Ours is to ensure that the stolen vehicles are retrieved. Now, again, I keep emphasizing on the due diligence, because if you can show or prove that you have done enough due diligence, that arms you with a cause of action against the person you bought the vehicle from to retrieve your money in a civil suit. That's the best you got.
Oh, so you could... Okay, great points there. Frank, before we go, your final points?
Final point is very simple.
Frank, apologies there, but I hope you can hear me. The marching orders from EOCO now. seem to have lost Frank Atanli Kofiga, Executive Secretary for the Vehicle and Asset Dealers Union there, making the point, a passionate appeal there to government to try and, sanitize the import and export space. But that's it for Top Story. I'm Blessed Suga. Next is Newsnight. Please stay.